Sid.
You mean that happy child?
That ain't no happy child. He tortures toys just for fun.
Is it just for fun, or is there a real reason behind the murder and the madness? What's up guys, I'm your host Joss and welcome back to Top 10 Beyond the Screen. Don't forget to subscribe while you're here and hang out with me until the end of this video where I'll do some comment shoutouts. Today I'm here to take one of your favorite childhood movies and tell you all the dark and twisted theories about it. I promise I'm not trying to ruin Disney for you, but people have come up with some disturbing theories about such an innocent film that I just have to share. Today I'll be sharing the top 10 dark Toy Story fan theories. I'll let you guys know my thoughts, so make sure you let me know in the comments what you think. Alright, here we go. Starting us off in number 10, the theory that Toy Story 3 is about the Illuminati. One of the most ludicrous conspiracy theories talked about on the internet. Floating around is the idea that Toy Story 3 has symbolism to the Illuminati, a conspiracy group that controls the world. The first thing to set this theory in action was the film's big villain, Lotso Huggin' Bear. Sounds kinda cute. He was a devious antagonist who ended up changing Buzz Lightyear's setting from play to demo. This was done so that Lotso could brainwash and control Buzz to spy for him. It's the behavior of the scene that has people comparing it to the Illuminati and their power of control. But wait, there's more. The other big piece of evidence that people talk about is the dialogue spoken by a Ken doll. When talking about Lotso, he says he made us into a pyramid and put himself on top. This is an odd piece of dialogue that people think refers to the famous image of the Illuminati conspiracy group, the pyramid with the eye on top of its peak. Are people looking into things a little too much, or is this a valid way of thinking? I'll leave that up to you. In at number 9, we have the fan theory that Woody helped Andy get through his dad's death. Wait, Andy's dad died? Apparently fans are saying that Woody wasn't originally Andy's toy but was in fact his dad's toy. Woody is a rare and expensive doll from the 50s television show Woody's Roundup. That's why he was stolen in Toy Story 3 for being so rare. So how did the 6-year-old boy get his hands on such an old treasured toy? Fans are believing that he was passed down to Andy from his past father. This theory has some evidence to back it up because in Toy Story 2, we hear Andy's mom tell Al from Al's Toy Barn that Woody wasn't for sale because it was a family possession. Also, there's speculation that the house in Toy Story had pictures of a boy that didn't quite look like Andy. People believe that they were pictures of Andy's father as a boy. It might explain Andy's father's absence and why they never talk about him. It's actually so true. We never hear anything about Andy's dad. Interesting. Speaking of Andy, in spot number 8 we have the theory that Andy is a clone. At the beginning of Toy Story we are introduced to Andy, who is celebrating his 6th birthday. Exciting, right? Yeah, he's having a party and invited all his friends to it, which if you look closely you'll notice that Andy's friends have a striking resemblance to Andy. It's weird when you notice it and it's hard not to pay attention to it once you do. This is the evidence fans have used to create the theory that Andy is a clone. There is a reason though that is far less sinister than that theory. It's possible that Pixar didn't want to blow its budget on extra character designs and use their very early technology to replicate the faces. If so, that move was a gamble, and guess what? You got caught. Another sinister fan theory is the theory that Sid is a child of abuse. Quite an accusation for a Disney character, but fans are confident that they have evidence to back it up. We meet Sid in the first Toy Story film where he spends all his time destroying and killing toys. He's downright sadistic. A lot of fans believe that this is because he's the product of an alcoholic and abusive father. We never actually meet Sid's parents, but the theory elevated from the one time his dad is actually visible. The scene inside of Sid's living room with his father passed out in the recliner in front of the TV, with questionable cans on the floor next to him. The one can says cola, but fans are thinking they could represent beer, which is the reason he's passed out in the recliner. It doesn't help his case that the living room is also filled with mess and clutter. Diving deeper into this theory, fans have pointed out some evidence of neglect that Sid faced. We see that he gets a toy rocket mailed to him at his house, but in the 90s it wasn't as easy as going online and buying something. Online shopping wasn't a big thing like it is now. He must have had one of his parents get it for him, which would mean they didn't even care that this toy was dangerous and potentially life-threatening. All of this just makes you wonder whether Sid was just seeking attention by behaving so badly. Spot number 6 is filled with the theory that Bo Peep wasn't originally Woody's girlfriend. Ooh, fans are getting a little savage trying to come between people's relationships like that. The theory goes that the first Toy Story movie didn't have Bo Peep as Woody's girlfriend because they had another famous doll in mind. Barbie. Barbie was supposed to be his love interest, but the toy company Mattel didn't have the same faith in Toy Story like Pixar did. Mattel thought that the movie would be a fail, so they declined the right to use Barbie in the film, which meant Woody needed an alternative girlfriend. So basically what fans are saying is that Bo Peep was a second best? How nice. But the real joke is on Mattel, because once they saw the success of the movie, they opted for their dolls to be in Toy Story 2, which they were. I think Woody and Bo Peep make a cuter couple anyways. Alright guys, here we are at number 5 with the theory that Wheezy is the villain of Toy Story 2. Not only do I love Bo Peep, but I also adored the cute penguin Squeaky toy. And don't lie to yourself, you did too. How could you not? The poor little Squeaky guy seemed so desperate to get his squeak back, it was almost impossible not to have sympathy for him. But fans are ruining this memory for me because they are claiming that Wheezy didn't have the best intentions for Woody, Buzz, and the other toys. They believe that the events of Toy Story 2 happened because of Wheezy. The evidence they are using to back up their claim is that Wheezy was one of Andy's favorite toys for a few months before he was put on the top shelf and forgotten about. We've seen that toys get jealous of other toys, like when Woody initially disliked Buzz. Wheezy must have felt the same way when he was put away for months. They believe that the jealousy fueled a plan that put Woody at the yard sale. He knew it was his best shot to get rid of Andy's new favorite toy so he could become the favorite again. I don't know you guys, Wheezy just doesn't seem like the jealous type. Speaking of toys, at number 4 we have the theory that Sid's mutant toys were inspired by real ones. One of the creepiest moments as a kid was watching Sid's gang of mutant toys emerge from the shadows of his room. Although they weren't evil, they sure were creepy looking. We found out at the end of the movie that they weren't evil because they helped Woody and Buzz escape from Sid's house. They must have just been victims to Sid's frightening imagination. However, the scariest part though is that the figures were inspired by actual toys. The toys were featured in a collection at a museum in Marin, California. The animators were inspired by this and made their own mutant toy using an action figure and a Hulk Hogan toy that inspired the ones featured in the film. Well, that's one museum exhibit I have no interest in seeing. Since we're talking about creepy toys, that brings us to number 3 with the theory that Woody was originally a creepier doll. During the early development of Toy Story, Pixar had a very different vision for Woody. He was originally going to be a ventriloquist dummy, but when Disney saw that, producers had a few notes about the cowboy toy. This was a good call on Disney's part because when the concept art for Woody was released, it was a bit unsettling. Yeah, no thanks. Disney and the rest of the human population probably thought that a ventriloquist dummy created a sense of creepiness that is just hard to ignore. If this is all true, fans believe that they changed the look of the doll so that their profits wouldn't take a significant hit. They didn't want kids to fear the toys or else they wouldn't buy them as merchandise. Plus, what kids want to be afraid of their toys? This is why they think Pixar listened and changed Woody to the pull-string doll we all know and love. A less creepy option for sure. Here we are at number 2 with the theory that the toys are immortal. Aren't you wondering how the writers can keep making Toy Story movies? Well, this super depressing theory that Woody and the gang can only perish if they're physically crushed or burned, and that they will continue to forget their old owners and live out the same cycle forever. I told you, depressing. People began speculating this theory when it was taken to social media. One father tweeted out, "My daughter just ruined Toy Story forever. She said if one of the toys died, Andy wouldn't know it and he'd carry on playing with its corpse." Gross, right? But the girl kinda has a point. Andy doesn't know that his toys come alive when he leaves the room, so logically he wouldn't know that they die either. But these two ideas kind of contradict themselves. If they can only die by being crushed or burned, then surely Andy wouldn't play with them anymore. But if they remain alive forever and aren't immortal, they would die as time goes on and Andy would in fact be playing with a toy corpse. I'm not sure which one I like better. Can I pick neither? At number 1, we have a very serious theory that Toy Story 3 is a modern retelling of the Holocaust. Fans say that the film shares similarities with the horrific events that took place during the Holocaust timeline. One piece of evidence is Buzz Lightyear's suggestion that they hide in the attic to avoid being donated. Some are speculating that this relates to when the Jews would hide to escape prosecution. Anne Frank's story would go hand in hand as she was one of the Jewish victims who was hiding from 1942 to 1944. They would often hide in the attic of houses. Fans also believe the toys being sent to Sunnyside Daycare represented people being sent off to concentration camps during World War II. The comparison being that the toys are overused and mistreated by the children of Sunnyside while being locked up by Lotso, the same way the Jews were powerless and abused in the camps. The last and very dark piece of evidence is that the Toy Story nearly ended with them being incinerated at the town dump. I think you get the gist of this theory. If I read too much into this theory, my whole childhood could be ruined, so let's end it there. That's it guys, make sure you guys leave a comment below to be featured in the next video. Let me know what you think. For now, I'll respond to some comments on my last video, the top 10 movies you shouldn't watch with your parents. Michael Ross says, I'd rather not watch The Human Centipede. Good choice, Michael. Broadway Dreamer 2005 says, I have never watched a really bad movie with my mom and dad, and I don't think I could, at least not like these movies. Good, I suggest avoiding it for as long as you can. Mako Cruz says, hey Jocelyn, if you didn't work in this YouTube channel, what would your other dream job be? I would have to say acting. I love performing. Frankenstein says, part 2 please. I really like this one, you guys. I would love to do a part 2, so I will definitely consider that. Alright guys, this is where I sign off. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.